We are kicking off with WWE, and since the culmination of WrestleMania, WWE TV has been home to a mystery surrounding QR codes and glitches that have left fans deciphering clues. Last night, a QR code appeared during the match with Ridge Holland and Shawn Spears, and scanning it takes fans to another enigmatic video from the mystery person. This video features more cryptic footage and imagery as we've seen in recent weeks, including a desolate road from the point of view of a driver and a secluded house with a note at the doorstep. The video ends with the message, "They were broken. I didn't fix them. I accepted them," hinting that the mystery includes multiple people, with the final message, "They opened the door." The fervent speculation swirling among fans has connected these cryptic occurrences to the much-anticipated return of Bo Dallas, who's expected to return as Uncle Howdy. As this mystery grows, fans are more eager to see what's to come and who else may be returning, and we'll have to see what's next in WWE's latest enigma. It was just 7 days ago that Tony Khan was attacked by Jack Perry and the Elite on AEW Dynamite, in the first instance of the AEW president being attacked as part of the show. Of course, this isn't the first time an authority figure in wrestling has been attacked as part of an angle, but Khan had a unique reason for why this storyline has happened. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Alvarez stated that the Khan attack was something of a publicity stunt as part of his appearances for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL Draft. Sure enough, Khan appeared in his neck brace for the NFL Draft and had ample opportunities to speak about AEW and put over the company to an audience that may be unfamiliar with it. During last week's AEW Collision, it was noted on commentary that Khan had suffered multiple head and neck injuries, and it was said he's unable to travel to AEW shows. Khan will instead oversee AEW operations remotely from Jacksonville, and Nigel McGuinness pondered if the Young Bucks will step up as those in control, given their EVP status. In a recent interview with Scott Fishman of TV Insider, Tony Khan talked about the surprise attack, was asked about who will be in charge with him not attending AEW events. He said, "We all have experience working outside the office. During the lockdown, we got used to meetings on Teams and Zoom. As for who will be the highest ranking official on site, stay tuned Wednesday. It'll certainly be addressed this week on TBS. This power struggle that is happening in AEW. Khan assured fans that he would continue to oversee AEW and manage the show remotely, ensuring that his leadership and direction remained intact despite the circumstances. Are you excited to see what's next for AEW and who emerges on top in this power struggle on tonight's Dynamite? Let us know in the comments section down below. We've got news from AEW Collision now, as there won't be a show this Saturday in the latest change to AEW's weekly schedule. This is another change thanks to the NBA and NHL playoffs, and the next time slot for AEW Collision will be on May 11th at 8/7 Central on TNT. That show will see Collision come to Vancouver, Canada, but fans tuning into TNT this Saturday should be prepared to see very little wrestling on TNT. Over to NXT, which opened with a recap of Trick Williams' NXT title win, and he came out for a promo as the brand's new top dog as the crowd chanted, "Whoop that Trick." Lash Legend came out to congratulate him, though Trick reminded her that she tried to slap him the last time they were in the ring, and they talked for a while, but with no real advancement. The only tease of something new was that Legend handed Trick a yellow envelope she had, leaving the champion confused in the ring. Later that night, Metaphor were seen exiting the building, and Noam Dar invited Trick to Supernova sessions to unravel the envelope mystery for himself. The first match of the night saw Femi put the North American title on the line against Ivar, and we've been appreciating titles being put on pedestals for title matches. Both men are powerhouses who can work at a quick pace, and this was much more energetic than some bouts with similar competitors, but it still felt like something was missing. Being predictable may have been a factor, but the pair still picked up the pace and got the crowd cheering before Femi, as expected, won to retain the title. The return of Wes Lee was a welcome surprise, as he made clear he's coming for the North American champion in what should be an exciting clash of styles. Gigi Dolan and Ariana Grace talked about the spring Breakin card while eating dinner. It was a weird video that wasn't as funny as WWE was trying to make it. Thea Hale was able to get some payback on Jacy Jayne during this week's NXT, but the victory for the Chase U student was short-lived. Fallon Henley was among the other members of Chase U who celebrated with Hale, only to ambush Thea and punch her right in the face. After leaving the ring, Henley looked at Jayne, who approved of the attack, and it remains to be seen what's next if Henley and Jayne are indeed on the same side. At WrestleMania 40, The Rock played a huge role in both nights of the show, but there were reports at the time that the final boss wasn't as professional as his moniker implies. According to insiders speaking to The Wrap, Rock arrived 3 hours late before his main event match at WrestleMania 40, and as we saw, was 2 hours late for his WWE World appearance. This resulted in boos from the crowd and negative feedback from the Philadelphia media, but now a WWE insider has shed light on the tardiness of the Brahma Bull. Said source explained that Johnson was late to WWE World due to other WWE commitments and traffic issues in Philly, though these reasons did little to placate the fans. Chris Legentil, WWE's Executive Vice President for Talent Relations and Head of Communications, also commented and refuted the notion Rock was late to WrestleMania. Legentil told The Wrap that not only was Rock on time for the show, but he was hours early to help with rehearsals and was said to have been a pleasure to work with during his return. Are you surprised by these allegations made against The Rock? And what do you make of the response from those in WWE? Let us know in the comments section below. Late or not, The Rock is back in the world of wrestling, and now his company, 7 Bucks Productions, are set to reveal their docuseries about the collapse of WCW. The new show will premiere on Vice TV on June 4th, and with Kevin Nash saying it'll tell the real story of WCW rather than WWE's version, this will be a compelling watch once it hits screens. On this week's Raw, CM Punk was selected by the Red Brand during the draft, but the graphic highlighting Punk's career and accomplishments made a significant error. The graphic said that Punk returned at Survivor Series and is healing a torn triceps injury, both true, but also called him a Grand Slam champion, which is not the case. Punk is yet to win the United States Championship, and when fans pointed this out on Twitter, the USA Network said they were just trying to will the win into existence. For Punk to win the Grand Slam, he'd have to beat Logan Paul, something fans would no doubt love to see, and you know to never say never in the world of WWE. Tyson Dupont and Tyriek Igwe made their NXT debut this week in a tag team match against the OC, and the newcomers are both powerhouses, which added intrigue to this match. In a surprising result, though, Gallows and Anderson won after mere minutes, a strange decision given WWE's past video packages hyping the debuts of Dupont and Igwe. In late 2022, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson returned to WWE and immediately aligned with AJ Styles on Raw, over 2 years after being released in April 2020. More recently, Gallows and Anderson made some appearances in WWE NXT, something that didn't happen when they first joined WWE, and that run had an effect on the pair. During their Talkin' Shop podcast, Anderson spoke about enjoying their time in NXT. He said, "Our time in NXT was great. I wish we would have spent more time at NXT earlier when we came back to WWE, just a little bit. We could have worked closer with Hunter. You can say what you want about us, just know that as people, we are passionate about professional wrestling and doing what we do." Gallows agreed that a run in WWE NXT would have been beneficial for the team, adding, "That would have been a good thing, just to form the bond a little bit more. Him getting to know us as people and our passion would be a good thing." As we mentioned, the pair defeated Tyson Dupont and Tyriek Igwe this week, but for the OC, they wish this run in the Gold brand had come years earlier. But what do you make of their comments? Should the OC have returned to WWE 2 years ago as part of NXT? Let us know down in the comments. In the NXT Underground match, Lola Vice and Natalya held nothing back, and when the veteran locked in a sharpshooter, that appeared to be the finish. That was until Vice's trainer Shayna Baszler locked a submission in on Carmen Petrovic, leading Natalya to try and make the save, and as she returned to the ring, Vice took control. A chop and several blows to Natalya scored Vice a TKO victory in one of the more unique matches of NXT Spring Breakin' Night 2. During the Night 2 supplemental draft, Dijak was moved from NXT to Monday Night Raw, which comes at an interesting time in the powerhouse's career. It was reported not too long ago that Dijak's contract with WWE is set to expire soon, and Fightful reports that as of yesterday morning, he has not re-signed. Not only that, but Dijak hasn't been approached about a new deal, though both sides are said to be optimistic, especially with Triple H and Shawn Michaels being fans of his work. Additionally, feedback from various departments within NXT indicates widespread admiration for Dijak's social media antics, but no concrete creative plans have been made for him on Raw. If his contract expires, then he'd be a free agent, but a source in AEW told Fightful that the company expects that Dijak will re-sign with WWE at the right time. Dijak was, like all NXT stars, not informed of his draft move before it happened, and he's ready to make an impact on Raw, even with his current WWE deal ticking away. During a recent interview, Bill Goldberg said that there was no chance he'd join AEW, blasting the All Elite promotion as too cheesy for the likes of him. This was quite the stance by Goldberg, especially as Tony Khan has said that they've had a good relationship in the past, and now Khan has had more to say on the WWE Hall of Famer. Speaking to Superstar Crossover, Khan said he's met Bill Goldberg several times, and Goldberg was looking to work for AEW, so his recent comments have taken Khan by surprise. Despite Goldberg's comments, Khan had praise for the former champion, adding that he has a lot of respect for Bill, and he's always been open to doing business with him. Whether that's still the case following these comments, time will tell, but if Goldberg does get that final match he's been seeking, odds are it won't be in an AEW ring. We've got some sad news to report now, as independent wrestler Billy Reil has passed away at the age of 44. News of Rail's passing was first shared by PW Insider, who had been informed by his family, and it was said that he'd been dealing with a lot of health issues in the last year. Born and raised in South Philadelphia, Rail's wrestling inspiration came from watching WWF events at the Spectrum in the 1980s and grew as ECW gained prominence later on. After making contact with many in the industry, Reil made his in-ring debut in 1995 and would compete for several promotions in the area, as well as Jersey All-Pro Wrestling. Outside the ring, Reil was a classically trained actor and starred in low-budget films including Purgatory and The Pit, which demonstrated his theatrical talents. Reil also gained recognition in 2022 when the South Philly Review reported on his bravery as he prevented an attempted mugging on his 61-year-old next-door neighbor. Reil had witnessed a man on rollerblades trying to rob her and was able to tackle the assailant and recover the neighbor's stolen purse. It's sad to see anyone in wrestling pass away, especially someone as young as the 44-year-old Reil, and we'd like to extend our condolences to his family and friends. During NXT Stand and Deliver, it was announced that the Women's North American Championship is coming, the first mid-card title for the women of WWE in history. On this week's NXT, GM Ava gave an update, announcing that the first champion will be decided at NXT Battleground on June 9th in a ladder match. 12 superstars will compete in qualifying matches, with the 6 winners advancing to the ladder match, and her announcement led to several stars coming out. Sol Ruka, Ariana Grace, Jada Parker, and even the main roster's Mi Chin appeared to stake their claim for the gold, and time will tell who is the first NXT Women's North American Champion. In a match that left the crowd confused as to who to cheer for, Ridge Holland defeated Shawn Spears, and a commercial mere minutes in meant this match never left second gear. More from NXT Spring Breakin' as Chelsea Green made a surprise appearance on the show, as Ava announced Green as NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez's next challenger. That match will happen next week, but on Twitter, WWE's camera team caught up with Green, who was excited for the opportunity next week and was able to have a reunion with an old ally. As her interview drew to a close, Green, a self-professed future Hall of Famer, was approached by Mr. Stone, who managed Green during her NXT days. Both Green and Stone were pleased to see each other, and Stone said that they should catch up, and the pair left together to do just that. Could Stone be looking to manage Green once more, and if so, how will this play into next week's title match? We'll just have to keep tuned to next week's show to find out. With the NXT Tag Team titles on the line, Nathan Frazer and Axiom defended against AOP, who had Paul Ellering, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett all at ringside. The majority of this bout was AOP dominating their opponents, as their size and power was too much for the high flyers in most instances. Kross, Scarlett, and Ellering were ejected from ringside after being caught trying to help, and with the ref distracted, the New Catch Republic attacked AOP. This gave the champions the opening to get the win, and while this match had good energy and fun spots, it's hardly a good look that the champions couldn't win on their own. As we've seen, the WWE rosters have changed quite significantly in recent days, and now another change has happened, affecting the ring announcing. Fightful were the first to report that Mike Rome will be announcing from NXT going forward, and we'll have to see what this means for NXT's previous announcer, Alicia Taylor. One name fans won't be seeing in due time is Scripps, formerly Reggie, whose WWE run is set to expire this time next month. It's been reported that WWE informed the former 24/7 champion that they would not be renewing his deal when it expires, and he'll be a free agent on June 1st. On Twitter, Scripps confirmed this news as he shared a video cementing his upcoming free agency and shared an email address for future bookings. Scripps had runs on the main roster and NXT, and is athletically gifted to say the least, but soon the former Cirque du Soleil performer will have to make his name outside of WWE. Shortly before Night 2 of the WWE Draft, Adam Pearce showed off his red and black sports coat and made clear that it was a tribute to your friend and mine, Jim Cornette. This earned Pearce a backlash among fans, as Cornette is once again facing controversy, as Cornette opted to use a gorilla in a thumbnail in which he discussed Swerve Strickland. The content of the video had nothing to do with gorillas, and given controversial comments in the past by Cornette, many fans saw this as racist against AEW's first black world champion. Amid the controversy, Pearce shared a follow-up tweet saying that those who think he was showing solidarity with bigotry should touch grass. This response suggests that Pearce was simply wearing the red jacket for fun and intended no deeper or offensive meaning, but Cornette is hardly a beloved figure to countless fans. From 2001 to 2005, Maven Huffman was a WWE superstar and is perhaps best remembered for his shocking elimination of The Undertaker from the 2002 Royal Rumble match. Recently, Maven made his return to wrestling for Booker T's Reality of Wrestling promotion, and while the Tough Enough winner didn't win that Rumble, he certainly impressed in the ring. The last time fans saw MJF in an AEW ring, it was at World's End, but as a recent video has shown, the former world champion's hiatus hasn't dulled his savage barbs. At a recent convention, MJF met with the wrestling superfan known as Brock Lesnar Guy, who has said he's in search of a new name given Lesnar's hiatus from WWE TV. In the video, MJF did just that as he said that he was there with Piss Fetish Guy, which got a laugh out of the fan, as MJF is still a devil with his words, even off AEW TV. Now, much has been said about the Elite's attack on Tony Khan, with critics of AEW calling it a jumping the shark moment for the company. That term comes from Happy Days, when Fonzie jumped a shark on water skis, and means a point when a show has to begin using new, outlandish ideas as they've run out of good ideas. In WCW, many saw the infamous finger poke of doom as the promotion's jumping the shark, and on his Click This podcast, Kevin Nash compared the two segments. He said, AEW Dynamite did 683,000 viewers. The previous week was 762, so this was actually the lowest Dynamite audience in 6 months since the October 10th broadcast, which was 6 months ago. Thank God, because they missed the finger poke of doom at the end of this motherfucker. Tony Khan has said that he'll be running AEW remotely after suffering head and neck injuries due to the attack, leaving the on-screen running of AEW up in the air. The segment will be addressed on this week's Dynamite, but what do you make of Nash's comments? Give your thoughts down below. Responding to Nash's comments, Khan defended Ospreay's abilities while speaking on Z100, hailing him as one of the premier young talents globally and a valuable addition to AEW. Khan disagreed with Nash's assessments of Ospreay and current wrestling trends, expressing admiration for Ospreay's dedication and performance in recent matches at AEW Revolution and AEW Dynasty. I think Kevin Nash was a great wrestler. His opinions on wrestling, I'm not sure I agree with them. He had some takes on Will Ospreay that I definitely don't agree with. I'd be remiss if I don't bring that up. I think Will Ospreay is one of the best young wrestlers in the world. We're really fortunate to have Will Ospreay in AEW. He's been coming in and week out and working so hard, having great matches. Both pay-per-views he's been on, he's had these classic matches against Takeshita at AEW Revolution and against Bryan Danielson over a week ago at AEW Dynasty. I think Will Ospreay is so phenomenal. I've heard criticisms from Kevin that I don't necessarily agree with about Will. Some of his opinions about current wrestling I just don't agree with. I wish him the best and all the respect in the world to him. What are your thoughts on the recent comments from Tony Khan and Kevin Nash regarding AEW's programming and talent? Do you agree with Nash's criticisms, or do you side with Khan's defense of AEW and its wrestlers? Share your opinion in the comments below. And we're ending with Darby Allin, who suffered a foot injury at Big Business that has kept him on the shelf ever since, and this is hardly the only health issue affecting the former AEW TNT champion. Allin is also dealing with a facial injury as seen in recent photos, and was recently hit by a bus in New York City, but all of that may not stop him from appearing for AEW. During the Daily Migs show, Alan was asked about appearing at the May 15th episode of AEW Dynamite that'll be in Everett, Washington, a city in which Alan would be trained. Unfortunately, my foot won't be healed until around June, so if I do show up, it'll be with a broken face and foot, waving to the crowd, which might not be the worst thing. I'll have to wait and see. Training in Everett, Washington, it would be sort of an ultimate homecoming. May 15th, I'll see. I think I might be able to make it. As long as there are no buses, I'm good, Alan remarked. Alan also discussed his plans to climb Mount Everest, which was supposed to have happened already, but have been postponed because of his injuries. He said, "I was pumped, ready to conquer Everest, then 2 weeks before my departure, I broke my foot during the match. Wrestling with a broken foot for 13 minutes was tough. It was a painful experience. Now I'm recovering from foot surgery with 3 metal plates." Now Alan has 3 metal plates in his foot and won't be wrestling just yet, but don't count out an appearance by the former TNT champion very soon.